Ever wondered how much a seven-figure Amazon seller makes every single month? Well, today's your lucky day. I'm gonna break down my January profit and loss statement so you can see exactly how much I took home after all expenses. This is going to be a real no BS breakdown as this profit and loss statement was made by my CPA. With that being said, let's dive into the breakdown so you can see exactly how much I made in January. As always, if you got value, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the video.
All right, guys, if you ever wondered exactly how much a seven-figure Amazon seller takes home at the end of the day, then this is your lucky day. I'm going to break down my exact profit and loss statement from January so you can see the exact numbers of how much income we made, how much in expenses we paid, and how much we took home in profit after all said and done. So we have the income line here. This is the first bracket. All the money that we receive from Amazon is here. So Amazon discounts and promotions. This is $600. It's basically discounts that were offered to the customer. And this leads to a small minus in your actual overall income. But if you take a look at Amazon's shipping income, these are actually shipping credits that you get back for these discounts and promotions, which usually leads to a net positive at the end of the day of like a couple $100. So it never actually loses you money. But it's just important to break that down so you know exactly what that means if you ever get something from a CPA. Amazon FBA inventory reimbursement. So this is $1,600 that we receive from Amazon in exchange for lost inventory. So basically, they lost inventory in their warehouse or they lost inventory on the way to Amazon that was ours, and we get a refund or reimbursement back for that. $7,466, so $446. This is the Amazon refund. So these are basically customer returns. Customers return this, and this gets deducted from our actual income at the end of the day. So it's negative $7,446. That's pretty normal for returns as well. So we have Amazon sales. This is our top line. So $95,000 in actual revenue from our Amazon business. And then we talked about shipping income, so you know exactly what that means. Total Amazon income is $89,500. And then we get to the expense bracket. So cost of goods sold is the first expense bracket. We have Amazon inbound shipping, which is included in your cost of goods sold. It's the cost to send the inventory to Amazon. So all the FBA shipments, we paid about $532. It's a pretty steep discount. As you can see, we sent over 1,000 units a month and only paid $500 for it. Cost of goods sold. This is all the inventory that we sold in the month of January, how much it was valued at, $52,162. So the amount that we paid for that inventory that was sold. So you don't record the cost of the goods until it's sold when you're doing accrual accounting like we do. So cost of goods sold total is $52,700. And our gross profit is around $36,800. So then we get into some more expenses. We have the Amazon selling fees. So this is FBA fees right here, which was $5,400. And then this was Amazon seller fees. So these are the referral fees. Those 15% fees was $14,000. And then Amazon subscription fees was $39.99. And then we get into the general expenses. So we have contractors. These are my virtual assistants. We pay them pretty well, $600 each a month. There's a little bonus in there as well. So it was $1,400 for those virtual assistants to help me run my business. So that's also deductible. Most people don't realize that that's actually a deductible expense. So if you have virtual assistants on your team, make sure you're deducting them. We have bank fees and service charges here. So this is probably just like a service fee from a credit card or something like that, $99.55. Business insurance. This was liability coverage for our business, and it's $100 a month for that. Continuing education. This is just like mentoring, a mentorship program that I pay for every single month. It's about $794 to do that mentorship program. And that's also tax deductible. So any tax deductions you have from mentoring or courses or anything like that, those are all deductible on your taxes. So make sure you're doing that and plugging that in there. Inventory reimbursement services for seller investigators to get reimbursed for the inventory that went missing. We pay them a fee to like help us do that. Meals, this is just like any meals, the miscellaneous meals that I had with my wife or anything like that. It's $86. We only do like 1 or 2 meals a month and write off for taxes. Nothing crazy. Prep center fees. So this is basically one huge line expense. This is the amount that we paid to the prep center in the month of January for a lot of the inventory that we ordered in December. So $2,400 in prep fees for the month of January because we're billed on the first of every month. So Repairs and maintenance, this was $163. This was just a computer part that actually, like, my computer broke and I needed a part, so I was able to write that off as well. So any computer expenses you have from your business computer, or if you buy a brand new computer, you can actually write that off on your taxes if you're using it for business. So total general business expenses, $3,700. And then we have insurance. So this was actually renter's insurance. Since I had my home office in my apartment, I'm able to write off my renter's insurance for that as well. Legal and professional services, $299 a month for accounting fees. So this is just the fees to do bookkeeping every single month. It's $299. Consulting services. This is actually for Jeff Schick, who helps me with the legal and stuff like that. If any IP complaints or anything like that with my Amazon business, he helps me with that. So that's an $89 a month expense. Total fees were $388 for that. And then we get down to the bottom parts, and we'll see the income in a second. So office expenses, merchant account fees. This is probably something to do with the credit card. It's $10.75. Software and apps, $600. That's just all the softwares that I use to run my business, about $600 a month for that. Supplies, this was any supplies that we use for our business, was $199. And then taxes and license. So the business license, this was like a registered agent renewal, $125 for that. Travel expenses, this is probably just like an Uber or something like that, and you can write that off if it's for a travel expense. And then electricity, $63. So this is my apartment electricity where my office is. I'm able to write that off as well. I'm also able to write off my internet. So $140 a month, I can write off my internet as well. Total utilities, $203. And then total expenses, $26,362 here. And then our net operating income. So obviously the most important thing that we've all been waiting for is $10,000 or $10,500 in net operating income. So after all expenses, we take home about $10,500. Obviously, we have some expenses in there that kind of help us for tax purposes, like, you know, continuing education in there. But yeah, so total actual net profit was maybe a couple thousand more or so after all those, you know, expenses that we use for tax purposes. So we have credit card rewards, $50, just any rewards we got from credit cards. So our total actual net income down here is $10,500. So that's a full breakdown of exactly how much a 7-figure Amazon seller takes home every single month. Roughly, you can see it's about 12 to 15% profit margins. That's a pretty realistic profit margin for a 7-figure seller. So you want to make sure you have realistic expectations when you get into this, but it's not that challenging to get to, you know, 90, 100K a month in sales pretty consistently. Be making that 10K profit every single month. And that would change anyone's life out there. You know, that would change your life. You'd be able to quit your 9-to-5 with a business like this. So definitely just worth, you know, understanding how much a 7-figure seller makes and all the expenses and everything like that that comes with it. So I hope you guys got some value and really enjoyed this video. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.